The Notre Dame Fighting Irish have started 7-1 in ACC play, but they've got a tough test on their hands tonight as they take on the third-ranked Pittsburgh Panthers. And it's Lund. Stephanie Williams right on cue. Pittsburgh with the sweep.
The top two teams are colliding close to Halloween. Pitt is the only undefeated team left in the ACC. A win today would keep them in sole possession of first place. Louisville can jump up into that tie if they can beat Pitt this afternoon. Point Pitt. Clean kill by Kayla Lund. And there's that tough block by Pitt. I mean, they have a world-class front line. And Pitt remains undefeated in the ACC for the second straight year. The Pitt Panthers are 10-0 to start conference play.
It starts as a game, a gathering of friends. And slowly, as some begin to sit back, others stand out. The joy of playing turns to passion. And as the skills develop, so do the minds. And they begin to seek challenges, peers, and mentors to further their abilities and opportunities. The love and passion becomes a thirst for people in a place
we make history today in Pittsburgh
that will embrace and push a hunger for excellence
The ACC.
and to be in and among champions. These are the dreamers, scholars, leaders. These are the guides, teachers, mentors. And this is the opportunity, the challenge, the place. This is Pitt Beyond the Script.
This week on Pitt Beyond the Script, we recap another ACC battle at Heinz Field and look forward to the Panthers' road trip to face Georgia Tech. And we'll get to know one of Coach Narduzzi's Panthers, freshman, Italian-born defensive lineman, number 87, Hava Baldonado. We check in with two groups of Panthers turning heads in the ACC, Coach Fisher and his Panthers, now ranked number 2 in the nation. Another of our Pitt Hall of Fame profiles. And we gear up for the season with Coach Lance White and the Pitt women's basketball team. This week on Pitt Beyond the Script. Hello and welcome to Pitt Beyond the Script alongside head coach Pat Narduzzi. I'm Rob King. Plenty to get to. We're going to look at the Miami game, look forward to the Georgia Tech game. Let's start with the Miami game, and let's start with the outcome, just a general look at it. You guys have won so many close games down the stretch. This one didn't go your way.
It didn't, and I think our kids at the end felt like it was gonna. And, sometimes your luck runs out. We didn't finish a 4-minute drive on offense. We didn't finish a 2-minute drive on defense. And then we had another 2-minute drive that we could do it with whatever, 54 seconds left to go. And we had some drops on that series and didn't finish the game. I mean, Maurice has got a ball that if he catches it over the middle, may split the safeties, it may be all over.
Is it easier or harder in a game like this in which you say, look, turnovers gave them short field, drop passes, lost us the opportunity to make some plays and score some points. Easier or harder to look at it and say, hey, these things were well within our control and we lost it?
Well, it's easier because you can sit in a Sunday night meeting with your kids going, the turnovers, 3 straight turnovers in a row in the first half, attributed to 10 points. Short fields, a 17-yard drive, which we've said this before, and a 34-yard drive. So they got 10 points out of it, and those things will kill you. So you got to protect the football, and you can't make those decisions. You're better off punting it on first down at least make them go 70 on our defense. And a lot of people haven't been able to do that this year.
No, they haven't, and we'll talk about the defense coming up. But again, still important to remember, this is still a young football team, and we're still watching guys progress and get better. You pointed out in your weekly press conference you were happy with the way Malik Carter ran the football. You said you don't want him to be just a jet sweep guy. So explain what you meant by that and what you thought you saw in Malik this game.
Yeah, I mean, Malik's made some big plays out of the backfield, in the passing game. If everybody recalls that reception against Duke in the little spin move, and he's done some stuff on the outside runs, but we've been waiting for him to really turn it up inside, and he did Saturday. He had a huge third down conversion, maybe a 3rd and 2, where he put his head down and just went for the yard. It didn't look to score, every down.
Is that sometimes when a coach is looking at a game and when a fan's looking at a game, you might be looking at signs of progress differently than the fans sitting in the stands or watching on TV?
No question about it. And I told him he's going to, eventually hit his head on the goalpost. He's going to come through there. If he comes through with the velocity he has, he's going to pop one here real soon. The next, couple weeks, he'll pop one on us, and I think have a big explosive run inside if he continues to run like that.
Another good thing to see on the offensive side, because sometimes you have to kick field goals. Alex Kessman starts with the 54-yarder and 4 for 4, looked exceedingly comfortable and obviously extremely effective in this game.
And he knocked it through from 54 yards out. What a start for the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Again, as a football coach, we try to, make guys better. And when someone's down, you try to pick them up and you make them better. And to me, it's a great job by our kids sticking with Alex and not getting disappointed. He didn't get down on himself. He was able to put his cell phone, put it in the trash, and he was able to focus on what he needed to do to get better, and he did it.
I wanted to, since you're talking about guys who are getting better, I wanted to ask you about Patrick Jones, and we'll talk a little bit more about the overall defensive effort. But Patrick Jones is a guy who came in, played a couple years ago. Last year, 3.5 sacks. This week, 2 sacks, now has 7 sacks on the season. And it's got to be gratifying for you and your staff and for Patrick to see his development as a young man, as a player as well.
Yeah, we try to develop guys like that, and we thought he had a lot of talent coming out of high school. He's a very disciplined kid, works hard, came from a military family, and that's kind of what we want to do here at Pitt, is develop players. I mean, we're not always going to get those 4- and 5-star guys. We want to develop our guys, and I think we can turn any player offensively, defensively. We can develop and turn them into great players.
And overall, the defensive effort, I mean, this is just turning into one of the best defenses in the country that you're involved with this year. How would you grade the performance overall? I know you would have liked to have seen the team close things out at the end, but when you look up and you see less than 50% completion, Miami barely ran for 50 yards in this game. You have to be pleased with a lot of things that you saw.
No question. I mean, I think they had 2 conversions on 3rd down. I mean, it was a dominating performance by our defense, all except for one play. But unfortunately, you can't take that one play away, and it was a critical play in the game.
Panthers see the long winning streak come to an end, but still 5-3 and a chance to be bowl eligible. And coming up next, we're going to talk with Coach Narduzzi about the upcoming game against Georgia Tech and about a couple other players that stood out as well against Miami and have all season long, when we continue with Pitt Beyond the Script.
Coach told me you were born in Japan.
Yes, sir.
I assume because your dad's in the military, or was in the military, right?
Yes, sir. So I was actually born in Japan, and I lived there for about 8 years on and off. So then I moved from Virginia. I mean, before I moved to Virginia, I lived in Japan.
Arigato, because I missed that.
I understand that.
You do?
Understand that.
You hear me on the sideline yell, "Wakarimasu ka?" Means you got another sack.
The Pat Narduzzi Show. You can see it weekly on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. live at Pitt Studios in the lobby of the Pete. Hear it on 93.7 The Fan, and watch it Fridays on AT&T Sportsnet.
being a great football team, and that's what we got in here. Don't you ever question that. 1, 2, 3, go, man!
You have won its first Coastal Championship. Growing up in Italy, you live inside history. You have a history around that surrounds you, and you're taught about it, and it's cool. Italian is my first language. I actually speak Italian, English, Spanish, and I understand a little bit of French. My mom is Italian actually, so all that side of the family is Italian from generations, and my dad is from the Caribbean. We don't have sports in school, so every time you want to do a sport, you have to play on club teams. To be honest, football is not really popular in Italy. I got close to it in a weird way, just looking at it on TV, on YouTube, looking about videos, and searched for a team in Rome, and I found one, and that was the team that I ended up playing for. I wanted to take the next step and coming over to the United States and started playing football here, get it to a next level. So I moved to Florida actually my senior year of high school. I had to live with a host family because I moved on my own and I was 17.
Fit, sit, hip, hip, hip.
The recruiting story on Haba, I was sitting in New Jersey with Tim Salem. We knew we had a couple scholarships left late in the cycle, and I get a text message from somebody saying, hey, there's a kid in Tampa, he's a senior, he moved over from Italy, 8 months ago, and a link to his film was sent to my phone. I look at the film, kind of go, really raw, but athletic, played really hard, physical. So within 45 minutes, we had a coach at this kid's school in Tampa.
I had a bunch of offers, and I just felt like Pitt was the best fit for me. Being a student athlete at Pitt is a really great experience. I'm still in that transition from high school, from Italy to American college, but I'm adapting pretty good. On the football side, I didn't really expect to have all this playing time. A couple of injuries happened, so I had a chance to step up and really prove myself and show what I was able to. And that's what I'm trying to still do, get better every day.
Haba has been making a lot of plays, and he's always being vocal for a young guy. He's making sure we jog to the next drill and stuff like that.
The thing about him is how aggressive he is. I didn't know how that would be, American football in Italy. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how the rigors of American football, Division I, all of a sudden thrown on him, and he's done nothing but thrive.
Unfortunately, my family is not always able to watch the games because when we play at nighttime on major TVs, they would be sleeping because there's a 6-hour difference between here and there. Most of the times they would just watch me the day after. They would look at my highlights and see how I did. Their knowledge of football is not that high, so they just look at me and what I do and just cheer for me.
Sack for the Pitt defense.
He's extremely intelligent. He wants to go down the engineering path, which tells you a little bit about the aptitude that he has in his mind, and he combines his intelligence with his aggressive nature and his gifts. So it's fun to think about where he could go.
The quarterback's going down on this play. Sack for the Panthers. Baldonado.
And here we are, and with this kid from Italy. He's teaching us Italian. He's teaching all of us Italian, probably some inappropriate words that I'm not going to share, but we're all learning Italian.
Sono Bakuk Baldonado e state guardando Pitt dietro al copione.
Today's going to be a slower day. Ren really wants after the day off for the next day to be a little bit slower and then burn them out. Usually it's 2 days, but tomorrow's, we'll just have 1 day and really try to make tomorrow where they have to play and more scrimmage takes and that stuff. But today is really trying to hold their attention to skill.
So it really for us is just, we just got off transition, we just did outlets, and if you feel like you want to go 5-on-5, but I thought just in the beginning, let's just send 2 or 3 back.
We're rotating our kids though, they're pointing. Is it circle rebounding?
Yeah.
I'm on you, we're rotating, and then somebody takes a shot, and we got to box out whoever.
Yeah.
We're on the inside, they're on the outside.
Because is it, right? Terry, is it this?
I just do every other.
What all of them were like lacking was the level of physicality that needs to be done. So I didn't have every other, I just had the guys circling on the outside, them on the inside, so that they physically had to box and push back.
And my focus today, you know, through all of this is more in teaching and fundamentals, because we just can't get blown by. We're in the part of season right now that we're completely concentrated on us, is that we want to work on our fundamental development, how well these kids work together, having a big group of new players that haven't played together, is that we have to get their cohesion together, and so that's what we're trying to work on now.
What's everybody doing today? Woo-woo! Let's do it. Come on. That was day off.
Today's practice after an off day, so this one will be a little bit slower, more teaching, and then the next couple of days we'll really ramp it up and really get after them and play more full court. And so we're learning every day, growing every day, and so that's the major focus of today's practice. Here we go, let's go, let's go. Here we go.
And so you got to rip to then push. Good, Amy, good job. Work on your numbers, don't turn. 2 feet, good. You can't get to here and go take those low. No, go score. Good, Amy. Good. That's the way to shoot it, AB. Good, big time. Good job, Bug. Set that screen here so you can get through her. Good, right there. And see, that gave you a window that you can see the action. Come on, C. Come on, C. Get on it, get on it, get on it. Good, nice. Good job, good job. Knock down. Good, good. Much better, much better, much better. And Bug, you saved the possession by diving on the floor and getting that sucker. That's good stuff. Here we go. Again, we're putting so many different pieces together, and I know your minds are about to explode. But then whenever that clock goes and it's game time, you have to be able to have the fundamentals it takes to do that. To go, if we need 2 scores and a stop, if we need 2 stops and a score, that's what possessions at this level are all about. Knowing, can you take that gamble, or now do I keep it in my hands? If you don't rebound like you just did, we're not as good. But that changes us. And whenever you can fight through fatigue because your team needs you to. That's what we gotta learn, mental toughness. All right? Good workout today. Good stuff today. Here we go, everybody in?
Team on 3, 1, 2, 3,
team!
It's like the energy in the air. Knowing that Heather Like was coming in to be the athletic director, I said she's gonna bring in some great coach, and then she ended up getting Randy, and so that was really, I was like, wow, like changes are happening here, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
It's gonna be a year of transition, but there's a lot of hope for this team, a lot of hope for this program in general.
We have to upgrade the talent pool that was here when we came. And I think we made a big leap with that for this year's team, you know, bringing in 21 or so new players.
Players and their backgrounds and their styles of play. There's girls from Germany, girls from England, girls from Iceland, Canada. I mean, it's just, that's what I wanted. I wanted something different. I wanted a new style of soccer.
We want to be in a very attack-minded team with a great structure defensively to ensure that when we get to that deep playoff rounds one day that, you know good defense is what really wins those championships for you.
Amaya Pena, heroic for Pittsburgh tonight.
Team is everything. Team dynamic is everything. Learning about your teammates is very crucial to winning games, and if there's no connection off the field, there's not going to be a connection on the field. We're just willing to do whatever it takes to win. You can tell like girls are putting in 100% into tackles, into running, and if you don't have that, if you don't have that grittiness, then you're not going to be able to compete against UNC, Virginia, and the top schools in the nation.
You know, we've seen these players really buy into the program. Nobody ever, gets down if there's a goal being scored against them. They fight back and they're resilient. That was one word he used a lot with us, that this young team is very resilient.
The team chemistry is vital to your success, and I've said it before, the teams that I had at Notre Dame that won national championships weren't always our best teams. We had a couple of really good teams that didn't win a national championship, and it really all comes down to the players buying into your philosophy and buying into their role on the team. And the more that you get that are willing to sacrifice for the benefit of the team, that's when you got something special.
Sends a cross in, looks for West. The head is there, and it is a Panther goal and a Panther victory off the head of the freshman phenom Amanda West.
that we're starting to develop together.
X-Man drives all the way in. Jammed by Brown. Adis Tony, 15-footer is good. McGowan goes in for the jam. Wow! And the place is on fire.
We have to fight for it, we have to want it, and we have to go take it. That's our focus right now. We're gonna be good. Trust me on that.
Jimbo Covert, now there was a guy who was graceful and powerful. And you hear coaches talk about the great offensive linemen. They have great feet. Their bodies are always in position to make the block, and that's what Jimbo did very well.
Very dedicated to his craft, coachable. Dan Marino had so much time in the pocket because of Jimbo Covert and Mark May and those other players.
He is one of the reasons I look so good today, so thank you, Jimbo, because I never used to get hit off my left side because of Jimbo Covert at left tackle, and one of my best friends on earth. I love the guy.
Marlon McIntyre for the Panther touchdown. Jimbo Covert, he was blocking a couple of folks. Panther offensive line with a good job on the drive. Jimbo Covert nearest you.
Jimbo was a 3-year starter on our offensive lines. During those 3 years, he only gave up 3 sacks, including his senior year when he didn't give up a single sack. Basically, Dan Marino could stand back there like a statue with that type of protection.
Please welcome to the field, Jimbo Covert. The University of Pittsburgh is honored to retire your number 75 jersey.
I'm so glad when Heather came here that they established this Pitt Hall of Fame. It was kind of interesting that we never did that before, right? So when they called me and told me I was in, I said, well, what a great experience, right? And to have that type of achievement, to say that, you know, look how many years of Pitt football, right? Pitt sports, to be involved in that kind of a Hall of Fame type of a thing is pretty cool.
Welcome back to Pitt Beyond the Script, continuing on with Coach Narduzzi. And I wanted to ask you about a couple more guys on defense. Let's begin with Damar Hamlin. This was a guy who was a blue chip recruit. You guys are delighted to get him. A lot of times I think defensive backs, when they're having quiet games, that's a good thing. But he was loud with his 10 tackles, led your team in tackles this week.
Yeah, he's been loud really all year, I think. Even the week before, I think he was a player of the game, or at least an unsung hero of the game, but making a lot of plays. You know, with all the RPOs we're seeing, he's playing off-man coverage to the field, and he's getting a lot of slants, a lot of quick outs, and he's got to make a lot of tackles in space. And, you know, in the past, we've worried about guys just making tackles. The impressive thing about Damar is now he's making PBUs on some of those. He's very comfortable in his alignment and understanding what we're trying to do. And, you know, he's been really outstanding all year.
We've talked so much about the front four, and they have been unbelievable. Of course, we all know about the sack totals, but playing next to Damar Hamlin, another big-time recruit, another local guy, Paris Ford, just it looks like he just continues to get better and better.
You know, he's a fun player to watch. I mean, if I was a fan and I could take my binoculars and just focus on one guy, I'd have number 12 in my camera. He's fun, he's exciting, he's enthusiastic. You know, he's getting better every week as far as what he's supposed to be doing. He had a fantastic catch on the sideline that I guess he didn't complete in the third quarter, I believe. But he's a great player, and he's played well for us, and he can play even better. That's the important thing. This is his first year of really playing safety. Another year, that guy's going to be a top drafted guy, I think.
And they were out there pretty much the entire game.
Those two played the entire game. They didn't take a snap off.
It's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Meanwhile, another guy, Damari Mathis, you have a lot of talent on that back end, comes up with the second career interception.
He got rid of it quickly, high and picked off. Mathis with the interception for Pitt.
Damari's been great all year as well. I mean, him and Jason Pinnock have been battling back and forth the entire season. JP has, kind of had a little bit of a hamstring issue, a little bit of an injury issue, so he's in and out a little bit. And Damari's been able to continue to work every week. And I think every week he continues to get better. And it was good to see him come up with a pick in cover 3 on Saturday. And, I just wish he could have taken it to the house. I mean, can you score? So I got talked about his running. I may get him with Coach Powell a little bit, see if we can work on his running back skills, because it was to the field. And there was some space there, but we got to make somebody miss, have a little wiggle, and get to the house.
All right, well, we'll look for that in upcoming weeks. Coming up this week, meanwhile, you're taking on Georgia Tech. We've been so used to seeing Paul Johnson, that flex bone option that he ran down at Georgia Tech. A little bit different offense now. First of all, what was it like having to prepare for Coach Johnson? Because you just don't see that very often unless you're playing Navy or Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it was not easy to prepare for, I can tell you that. Unfortunately, we had to prepare for it when we played Duke earlier in the year. So it was, we got a little flavor of it. Who knows? They may come out and do it again. We don't know for sure what Jeff Collins and his offense staff will come up with. But we're glad we don't have to deal with that any longer. They've got some good athletes, obviously down there in Georgia. They've done a good job recruiting. Paul Johnson did an outstanding job bringing skilled athletes to that program, and now it's just developing them into a new offense. So to me, it's no different than what Mark Whipple's done with our offense, changing our identity, changing what we're doing, and he's doing the same thing. Football players are football players. Most of those kids that came to Georgia Tech didn't come from a wing T offense in high school. They all played in a normal spread, pro offense, and then they were transitioned into the option style. So now they're just getting back to what they did in high school. And it just takes a little bit of time, no different than any style offense that changes.
Is it a little bit different this time of year? Maybe if you played this team earlier, you would have looked at Temple tape, maybe, for where Jeff Collins was the head coach before. Is there enough here on Georgia Tech tape just to be able to watch what they've done and see their tendencies, not have to go back and look at Temple film?
Yeah, great question, Rob. We'll, during the season, we're pretty much focused on who they are. And obviously, if it was game 2, we'd be watching all Temple tape. Game 1, for sure, we've got nothing else to deal with. But in the summers, we do a summer report on guys, and we went through probably 6 or 7 games of Temple. We've pulled out all their trick plays. We've pulled out all their, fake punts, onside kicks they run against Buffalo. I mean, we've pulled all those little things that they've done all their years there. Anything tricky, because you can't get all your tricks, in 6 games. So we've got all the others saved, and we've watched those this week as well.
And you alluded to this, that the team is better than the record indicates. They've been getting better. They're coming off a victory over Miami, so certainly a challenge as far as they're concerned. Meanwhile, for you, on your end of things, a chance to be bowl eligible. As you start a season and even get to this point of the season, is that something you can check off and say, okay, that's one thing accomplished? Is that a milepost on the way to your season?
It is, I think, but you don't talk about going into it. I don't really care about being bowl eligible. That really doesn't matter to me. I don't think it really matters to our kids. You have higher expectations than a 6-win season. No disrespect. I want to go to a bigger bowl game. But I think after the thing is, you can say, guys, we're at least bowl eligible, and then we move on to the next and continue to try to stack wins.
Let's hope we can check that one off and be talking about stacking more wins after Georgia Tech on Saturday.
That's right.
All right, Coach, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to you for watching this week's edition of Pitt Beyond the Script.